So here's my off-meta Lunging Strike and Thorns build. There's a ton of synergies with basic skill damage with Vampiric Powers this season, so I want to see what I could come up with using those. Through a ton of tweaking, I came up with this build. This is one of the fastest clears I've used for Hell Tides or Blood Harvest. I can do speed clear content pushing around tier 60s or so. This is not a cheap character for pushing the later stuff, but if you can get the mandatory unique Ancient's Oath, you can absolutely clear all content in the game matching your level. This is made much better once you get your hands on a Razor Plate. This character uses Thorns for AoE and builds as much Fury and Berserking damage as possible to take out bosses. There are a ton of Frenzy and Hammer of the Ancients builds out there, and I love the teleporting power of Lunging Strike, so I wanted to build something around that. We'll get into the gears and skills first, then I have a couple clips for you, as well as a full dungeon clear at the end of the video. Please let me know if you have any questions or any suggestions. Okay, so let's get started looking at the items for the Lunging Thorns build. If you prefer to look at this at your own pace, there'll be a link down below to the full build. The minimum you're going to need is the Ancient's Oath. The Steel Grasp on this is great for grouping enemies. And then the 42 damage while berserking is kind of the key to this whole build, and we'll dig into that later. Razor Plate is necessary. It helps with AoE a ton, especially using this the needle flare aspect. So we have the topazes in every item because we are a basic attack build using Lunging Strike, which is just going to help tremendously with your speed of going through enemies, and especially seeking out elite packs. We have the Wild Berserking, the Burning Rage aspect here. It does a little bit of extra damage, but this actually will stack with your damage while berserking. So it says 2,620 fire damage, but that is typically usually somewhere around like 40,000. So again, just a little bit of ad clear, and you can run this without Thorns, and it's still pretty decent. We have a ton of Fury in this build, and it's kind of one of the main focuses. We never run out because we are basic attacking. We have no core skills and no other skills that use our Fury at all. So right now we are running 244 Fury, but you can get this higher if you find some rings that have that max resource on there. Again, Ancient's Oath, it's all around. I mean, it's perfect for every part of this build that we need. Bringing all the enemies in, I'll show you a little bit of that, is a great way to group for AoE. We're running X-Fouls. You could switch this out. I just like the effect of this ring, and I wanted to work it in there. If I were going to switch this out, I'd probably do some kind of resource gen thing. Assuming you're running this thing, which is really hard to find, but this is what gives us our survivability. We don't care about the core skill damage on here, but the gain max 30 maximum resource is massive for our damage, and then we drain resource instead of taking damage on our life. Since we are almost always at full resource, or we can get it back really quickly, this is our survivability. We're running rapid aspect just for the basic attack speed. I am running this guy here, which I'm not going to try and pronounce, but berserking is the main damage scaler of this build, and a lot of this stuff helps us, the attack speed and a little bit more survivability with the aggressive resistance. I wish I had a better one of these. I'll keep looking for that. There's the Razor Plate. And our last thing here, we have the Berserker Ripping. We deal some bleeding damage, and it's kind of a weird effect, but that also will scale with your damage while berserking. So that bleeding damage ends up doing way more than you would expect. And our weapon here, we're actually going to take the aspect, or the effect that gives bleeding damage instead of the berserking, because we have so many other ways of getting our berserking going. We're running Tibalt's Will here for a couple things. The maximum resource is insane, again, stacking with this weapon here. And then the unstoppable. Basically, anytime that we dash using the vampiric aspect, which one is it? This guy here, we're gaining back 50 of our resource. So if you're hurt, you just dash. You'll get a little bit of health back. But that 40% is also huge on your damage. Lastly, just for boots, I've got some tri-res. The berserking duration doesn't really matter. I might swap that out just for some more movement speed, but we're also just dashing through content constantly. I do take the weapon masters aspect just to give us one more of our chains, and we get those back pretty quickly. So there is a case we made for some other things that could go here. Especially because the stun doesn't really help us in the smaller content. We want enemies hitting us at all times, and if they're stunned, they can't. But the lower content, honestly, your chains will kill them right away, just by using them, or you can kind of clean them up, whatever doesn't survive there. Yeah, so there is the items here, and we'll go into some more nuances once we go over the skills. All right, let's get into our vampiric powers here. So the minimum required here is the Moonrise. Basic skill damage, movement speed, attack speed. This is a requirement for this build. We are only using a basic attack, and especially moving around, it's huge. Ravenous is a good one. It procs on bosses, which is what we care about the most. Because we're swinging so fast, we do see this proc on every boss if they're not dead immediately. So just I don't really have a lot of total movement speed bonus, but that little bit is enough. And with like Frenzy, you'll hit that basic speed cap really quickly. With Lunging Strike, we actually can benefit from as much attack speed as we can get. Next up is Metamorphosis. I went over this a little bit, but this stacks insanely well with Tibalt's Will and then the Heart of Selig. So every time that we dash, we're getting Unstoppable, and we're getting 50 of our primary resource, which happens to be our survivability, and also our damage for our Lunging Strike. And last up, we have Hectic, which is every 5 basic skills you cast, one of your active cooldowns is reduced. This is kind of replacing the Rage of Haragath unique chest armor, where you're getting reduction on your cooldowns just by inflicting bleeding. If this was bleeding on all enemies, it'd probably be best in slot, but because it's just on elites, we actually get way more just from the Hectic, and I like Razorblade too much. And then here's a quick peek at some of our stats. We're not quite maxed out on resistances, but they honestly don't matter too much. The poison resist, I feel like, matters more than anything in the season. So try and max that out if you can. But yeah, a lot of our HP is actually just Fury. So let's go back through. Anything important, critical strike damage you want pretty high. Vulnerable damage is something that you can prioritize. Damage with basic is huge. This is our most important stat. You want this on everything that you can get. Right now Thorns is saying 17,757, but this one, Thorns can actually critically strike. So critical strike chance can be important. But 2, this also stacks with our damage while berserking. Max life, we've only got 12.5, but that's it's plenty for what we need to do. Let's see here, our max fury right now, how's it saying 245? Anyway, Maximum Fury, one of our other super important skills. Yeah, let's get into expertise. Running something that you don't see often, which is the two-handed sword expertise. So direct damage is inflicted as bleeding damage over 5 seconds. This just means no matter what we're doing with any, I guess these are our only two main offensive skills, we are always inflicting bleeding, and that bleeding again is boosted significantly by our damage while berserking stat. And we'll go into the Paragon, where I can show you a little bit more about how that works after we go through our skills. Alright, so let's do a quick rundown of the skills. Our basic and our main damage dealer is going to be Lunging Strike. We're actually running the Battle Lunging Strike for the bleeding damage. This will scale with the berserking. You know, the critical strikes grant you berserking. We already have so many different ways of granting berserking, so this isn't really necessary. And this just does so much damage to bosses. We take 0 core skills. We don't even take any of the extra nodes here. Here we're gonna grab both shouts. I'm gonna grab the tactical rallying cry, just kind of an oh shit button. You're running out of resource, enemies are hitting you, you just pop this really quick and you have your shield again, effectively using your fury as your shield. We take 3 points imposing presence, 3 points martial vigor, just for more survivability. We're actually not going to take everything in outburst. I find that the 3 points in tough as nails is enough for our thorns, where we don't really need further points in here. And then challenging shout, we are taking the thorns strategic challenging shout just for a giant increase. And you'll usually see this happen when you pull a bunch of enemies in and they're surrounded with the group pack and the invulnerability guy. This just helps clear it out way faster. We're going to take the third shout, War Cry, and we're going to take Power War Cry. Again, we don't really use Fortify in this build. This doesn't come up too often. What we really care about is the berserking on here, and then the added damage. We want our skill effect durations increased, so we take 3 points here. We're going to take aggressive resistance. You get 3 right off the bat, and then you get up to 4 from your helmet. Let me go there. Your helmet here. I need to find one with 4, but 3 is decent. And then let's see, we're taking 3 in Prolific Fury because we want as much Fury generation as possible. Again, this is our damage, this is our shield. We don't take anything here. We don't have any brawling skills that we're hitting them with. We want 3 in No Mercy just for critical strike chance, and we want 3 here, you know, self-explanatory. Taking 1 here just to get the slow effect. You don't need anything more than 20. And then we do want this. Our bleeding damage is increased, and enemies are always vulnerable. Just 1 hard point into Steel Grasp, just to get down to Steel Grasp damages the enemy, gain berserking. All of our other points for this are coming from our Ancient's Oath. Okay. Going down a little bit further, we want... with Fury, you'll hit that cap pretty quickly, and this isn't really that necessary, but with Lunging Strike, we need all the attack speed we can get, and this definitely makes an impact. So we'll put 3 points there. We want to increase our Fury as much as possible. We got 3 points in there. We're taking Wrath of the Berserker, and we're taking this Unconstrained as our key passive, because berserking added damage is insane for what this build is. All right, let's dig into the Paragon really quickly. When digging into the Paragon, I'm going to kind of go over the rare nodes, some of my glyphs, and kind of a justification for some of the things I grab. This is definitely not optimized. I have some that are, you know, not even level 15 yet, so you're not getting the full bonus. So you can definitely optimize this further. We're taking both of the rare nodes on the first board. I'm going to put exploit in this guy just so that every enemy is always vulnerable. This counts when Thorns procs too. So as soon as an enemy hits you, they are vulnerable. As soon as you hit them with any of your abilities, they're vulnerable. We're taking both of these nodes, and then we're going to go up into the Warbringer tab for a couple reasons. We want all of the maximum fury we can get. These are really easy to grab on the way. And we are taking the Ire glyph. While berserking, you take 10% reduced damage, but the damage while berserking, you'll see come up a lot. This is our main damage dealer. We'll go up here really quick just to grab our Fury, and then we're going to go into the Carnage board. Carnage, we're just going to try and pick up the damage while berserking nodes. While I'm here, I'm going to grab this close enemies. Right here, we're going to run Revenge, and we don't really care about the additional bonus here. What we really care about is the bonus to all rare nodes in range, because we're going to get way more damage reduction. We're going to get way more damage while berserking, just from putting this grant 76% bonus to all rare nodes within range. Again, picking up all the damage while berserking on the way. We're going to split a couple different ways here. So damage while berserking we're picking up on the way up here. Let's go this way first. This will kind of be your last board, but I do run Hemorrhage. It's not going to increase our damage a ton, but it is a good choice for what our build does. More important method is going to be this way. We want more attack speed with one-hand weapons, so we take Wild Force. Flawless Technique. Again, this is increasing our critical strike chance. We are using one-handed weapons, so we want that. We're taking this on the way to the glyph socket, so that's fine. Just a little bit of extra armor, a little bit of damage reduction. We're running Disembowel here, so this is further helping with all of our cooldowns. Enemies are always bleeding. If they hit us, they get bleeding from our Thorns. If we hit them, they're bleeding, so because of our expertise. So we are constantly refreshing all of our cooldowns. We're going to go this way, and we're going to pick up the Blood Rage node. This is our main damage dealer, and this is what you should be focusing on. The current bonus, 69%, you want this as high as possible. So all of your gear, everything that you can roll attack damage while berserking, you want it. So we'll come down and we'll grab the nodes here as well for berserking. I think that's that's going to be a decent summary of that. If you learn anything from this, I take this as like my last board, but while you're leveling, try and grab this board earlier and then maybe respec later, because this is Blood Rage is insane for season 2. So here's a quick little demo just of the Thorns damage, and then the AoE that goes along with that. You can use your chains to bring them all in, and they will either die from your chains immediately, or they'll come up and swing at you, and that happens. Make sure that you are avoiding the protection shrines. Your Thorns won't proc anymore if you're using that, and it definitely hurts your AoE. Okay, here's a clip. This is the full boss fight for Duriel. Just so you can kind of see the speed that you would expect on this build. It's not Hammer the Ancients, but we're here to clear all of the content. So I think it's a decent balance between bossing and just regular ad clear for general quick content. But yeah, here you go. Here's your full damage. Not able to one phase, and we got pretty close, but yeah, we'll get in here real quick. So again, it's pretty respectable. here's what your boss damage is going to look like, and it's tier 95. So it's respectable. You know, it's no Hammer of the Ancients, but we're definitely able to still clear this guy for sure. Something like kind of clear speed. This is tier 58, so nothing too crazy, but you can see just kind of how quickly you're able to dash through stuff. Big groups, always use your chain to initiate, and I mean right now I'm not even touching my my cooldowns. For survivability's sake, you'll want to push those whenever you're hurting. But yeah, as long as you were keeping your chains up, you're gonna push through content really quickly. You'll see coming up that my health actually goes to 0 because of poison damage, but I stay alive even when they're hitting me because I have full resource. So I've got a potion popped, but yeah, it's the Fury gen that I have. You can see it kind of ticking away, but yeah, you just keep that up and your survivability is good to go. Okay, I'll leave you with the rest of this dungeon clear. Again, if you guys try it out, if you have any suggestions, if you have any questions, hit me up in the comment section, and I will read through everything and answer whatever I can. Yeah, thanks for watching.